we're going to kick off with, this is a little different form factor for us in terms of the sponsor presentation. So instead of a canned PowerPoint presentation, we've got Lucas LaFontaine, who does business development with Infinity Energy and works closely with builders all across the country here to have a little bit of a conversation with myself. And Ken Peterson here with Shea Homes, who knows a lot about solar and is going to provide a little perspective. So Lucas, let's start with your offers. What do you guys provide in the solar and smart energy space?
Absolutely. So Infinity Energy, we're a full turnkey contractor that provides from the roof down, from solar, batteries, and EV chargers for your guys' communities, and have solutions that are customizable from pre-construction to even after construction when your clients are saying, hey, we may want a little bit more, or hey, we're adding a new Tesla or an electric Hummer. What else do I need to make sure that that's taken care of?
Yeah. So the pieces and parts that you guys offer of the smart energy system, what are they specifically?
Solar panels, battery, and the electrical charging.
Yep. And now, how long have you guys been at this business?
So we've been doing this for about 15 years.
Uh-huh. And how long have you been working with builders?
Builders have been about, myself personally, probably going on a decade.
So talk to us a little bit about your process for working builders. What's the front end? How does the conversation start from a sales perspective? And then once there's a deal done, where do you go from there?
Certainly. So like Ken, if Ken was to come to us and say, hey, we're interested in solar in this community, from the very beginning, if you have never even looked into solar, we go through a design process that helps you spec the right system size for your home and look at the pricing that's going to be attractive to your community and solving the problems that your customers may have, and then educating your sales staff, educating your construction crews of what those processes are going to be to just simplify it from day one.
Yeah, so talk about the pricing piece, because that could be complicated, right?
Absolutely.
Because there's like the top line price, and then there are all these tax incentives and stuff. So, I mean, are you guys a knowledge base in that area? And there's code-driven stuff or not code-driven stuff, depending on the locality. What sort of expertise do you guys have in that area?
Absolutely. California is a market that we get to cheat in, right? They tell us what we get to do, but every other market's going to be different. Utility rates, how the power is consumed, the incentives that are available. And when you look at a community and you didn't anticipate a $10,000 to $15,000 cost for a home in regards to electrification, well, we have a process to go through the tax credits and incentives for the builders to be able to take advantage of. But then there's also the financing side of it as well, to where there is no burden to the communities and the developer.
So you bring the financing into the equation. So not
Correct.
only do you have the knowledge base, but you have ecosystem partners who help create a complete solution for the builder and the home buyer.
Absolutely.
Talk about other elements of the business planning side of things. So I know we're going to talk about how you guys do your installation work and coordinate on the construction front, but there's a front end, as we talked about yesterday, the merchandising and marketing piece. Talk about that. How do you help builders with that marketing piece?
It's important for your guys' customers if solar's a hot topic, energy storage, EVs are a hot topic. Us providing you with the collateral and the marketing to help educate your buyers, right? What is electrification? And we have an internal marketing team that customizes that towards your guys' community to simplify that, to give you the ad resources to deploy.
Talk about the construction piece, because when we were chatting earlier, it sounds like you guys have really developed a methodology for efficiency there, and I'm sure there's a lot of folks out here like, is this going to mess up and disrupt stuff? And maybe that's part of the smile on your face as you're worried about it.
Well, no, I mean, some of the challenges are for high volume builders. You have a community, you offer 5 plans, you have 140 lots. They face various directions.
Yep.
And so the pre-planning is so important because a certain home on a certain home site may not be able to take solar.
Right.
And so you have to educate the customer not only in the solar packages that are available, but the orientation of the home and the community.
Yeah, that is super important, and that's a part of our design process with the developer at the beginning and the builder at the beginning side is, here is what can fit on what model home. And when we look at our construction side, it's what we pride ourselves on, is making it simple for you. That way you don't have to worry about another trade on the site that's going to delay you or mess anything else up.
Yep.
Is we phase it as you phase. When a home's getting dried in, we want to make sure that our racking's on the roof, that we have pre-wiring done. As soon as those homes are ready to have panels installed, typically you're rolling out another phase that's about to get dried in. So we have our crews essentially living in your neighborhood as this development's going on and phasing along with your phases for all the steps in regards
So
to
what about the design piece that Ken's talking about, though? I mean, how do you work with builders on house on a specific plan, orientation to the sun? There aren't any trees here in Arizona, but there are trees elsewhere in the world. I mean, how do you work through that stuff? Do you guys work in the digital design? So one of the things you don't know about Shay is this guy's been doing so much digital marketing and sales work, and he actually has the ability for the consumer before they select a home to position it on a lot, right? And an actual model, and to see what living like that is. I don't know whether there's an ability to integrate the solar piece into that sort of design scheme, Ken, where it could be like, hey, if you position it this way, you're not going to be able to do solar. If you position it this way, it could be solar ready. Would you work with builders at that level?
If Ken told me he needed it, we'd find a way to make it work.
Are you a software salesman?
That's my day job.
I mean, it's a fascinating point, because when you do community VRs and you place a home on a home site, a part of that VR, because you're using the longitude and latitude of the home, you see the orientation of the sun.
Right.
And it's a little bit of a challenge for the consumer, because somebody could come in and say, hey, I want a 6 kW system. We have to tell them, well, you need to buy a bigger home. Because we don't have.
That's not a bad thing to tell them, is it?
That's a really good thing, more revenue, but it's all about the roof space.
And to your point, aesthetics is a big key factor when you're building these beautiful communities. And that's where we do, in that design process, do share with you the top tier products that have that aesthetics, right? We're not putting up your old school silver frame, blue cell panels. It's typically black on black now. You have micro inverters that's all hidden and supposed to be integrated, right? We talk about integrated solutions. We really try and classify ourselves as kind of a techstruction company, because technology is a big part of what we do today. Haven't gotten to the point of 3D renderings.
I'm writing that down. Techstruction companies.
I'm like,
The
that's
techstruction,
the new buzzword of
It's
the
the
conference.
new, right?
Summit.
Techstruction.
That's a good one.
I like it.
We have to bring technologies. Solar's a technology. Batteries are a technology.
Yeah.
And how we integrate that into the home and integrating it into your guys' plans is an integral part of your process and ours.
Yeah, so you've been working with builders for 10 years. You got a bunch of them that are customers, right?
Correct.
You said 10 of the top 20?
Yeah, 10 of the top 20 we work with.
And you feel like you're deeply penetrated with those top 10? I mean, are you in multiple divisions?
We're in multiple states, multiple divisions. I mean, we're operating in about 8 states currently. In all 8 states, we have builder relationships.
And why did they start working with you, and why do they continue to work with you?
To start working with us and continue to work with us is because of that simplification process, right? We have the crews on the site. We're there to make sure that we follow through. There's a single point of contact rather than going through the finance company, then who subcontracted it. Infinity Energy is the stopgap, right?
Yep.
We're there from the beginning, we're there to the end.
Yep.
And even with finance partners that we use, you're going through us.
And what about this? The money.
The money.
Do they make money?
You can make money. Obviously, when you look at a community, we give you a price with the goal of marking that up so you can make some money from a cash purchase, or from a financing perspective. There's financing to where you come out of pocket nothing, and the finance entities typically give kickbacks.
Right.
On top of that, you have the tax credits and incentives, and local municipalities do give cash rebates still.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see the uptick of incentives creeping back up because of this new electrification process with EVs, right? It's a heavy cost burden, and it's a big burden on the grid. So incentives are going to start rolling out in that aspect.
Yeah. So it's kind of a found revenue category for a builder, right? Because most builders before 10 years ago weren't really playing in this category.
Correct.
And now there's some level of revenue, and it could be substantial, that's realized,
Yeah,
right?
you can easily make some revenue off of adding solar to your homes. But to Ken's point, is making sure that it's a home that is available, right?
Yeah.
Does it make sense? we have to evaluate the market, evaluate the home to where you're not offering a customer something that doesn't make financial sense for them even.
Yep.
Putting a,
On your battery systems, are you installing 2 meters?
it depends on the local municipality if we have to. For the most case, we don't have to. It's just your one electric meter, and they're called bi-directional meters for that purpose of energy storage and solar and energy from the grid. The battery, the brain of the battery is the transfer switch that controls that flow of energy.